Discover 8 Sinister Appalachian Deep Woods Tales, expose truths of the haunted and cursed. The wind howled like a banshee through the craggy mountains of Hollow Creek. Anna was used to the whispers of her neighbors. The tales of shadowy figures and malevolent spirits scared many, but Anna believed they were just folklore. That was before the laughter started. A chilling echo from the woods pierced her thoughts late at night, clawing at her mind every time she was alone. It had been a long day at the diner, the greasy scent of the food clinging to her clothes, and her cash flow dwindling. Anna clasped her hands tightly against the chill creeping through the dilapidated house. She had left her 2 kids, Molly and Liam, tucked into bed, but as the storm bore down outside, unease gnawed at her. The power flickered and then went out, leaving her in anxious darkness. "Mommy! There are monsters!" Their cries clawed through the silence, sending her heart racing. Anna rushed to their room, fumbling in the darkness, her palms slick with sweat. "It's okay, kids. It's just the storm." But their faces, pale and wide-eyed, told another story. They spoke frantically of glowing eyes peering from the tree line, shadows that danced just out of sight. It was enough to send a cold shiver down her spine. With each passing hour, the stories of the Watcher invaded her peace. A malevolent being, some said, cursed to wander the woods, watching families curl into dreams and pulling them into nightmares. Anna pushed those thoughts away, focusing instead on her kids' fear. She reassured them, even as she felt the presence behind her, lurking, the shadows seeming to stretch closer. The days turned into weeks, and sleep escaped them all. Molly awoke every night, terrified, screaming about a figure that seemed to be creeping closer, laughter ringing louder each time. Liam trembled next to her, clutching a worn teddy bear, eyes darting toward the windows. "Mama, it's outside." They would chant in unison as if possessed. "Mommy!" They cried again one fateful night, as lightning flashed outside, illuminating their room in quick bursts of horror. Anna stumbled toward them, her heart pounding fiercely. "What do you see?" "It's watching," Molly whispered, her voice trembling like a leaf in the wind. "The man with the glowing eyes." "Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The nights turned unbearable. Shadows flickered in the periphery of Anna's vision, stretching and distorting as if trying to reach out. Visiting neighbors exchanged worried glances, dismissing her distress. There was no understanding of the Watcher's grip on Hollow Creek. What could they know of the darkness that threatened her family? Following the tattered trail of stories, Anna took a torch and plunged into the darkness of the woods. Trees twisted like gnarled hands, creeping closer with every step. The laughter grew louder, echoing through the black night, a sickening sound that pulled at the fabric of her nerves. She was left alone with the haunting truth: her children were not safe. As she returned home, dread burrowed deeper within her. The house was silent, too silent. She pushed open the door, her stomach dropping. Where were Molly and Liam? Heart racing, she called their names, and all that answered was the relentless howling of the wind. Standing at the edge of darkness just beyond the porch, Anna felt ice grip her heart as that laughter rang through the trees again, taunting, calling. And now it was her children's laughter, drifting away. Fear surged through her like a cold wave. They weren't safe, not now, not ever. Anna stood on the precipice of terror, realizing the shadows were alive and waiting for her family to fall deeper into their dark embrace. Where had they gone, and what awaited her in the darkness? A knot twisted in Anna's stomach as she stepped over the threshold, the silence pressing in around her like a vice. She fought the panic welling within, but her instincts screamed that something was terribly wrong. She scanned the dimly lit room, the flickering glow of the dying hearth barely illuminating the family portraits lining the walls. They stared back at her with their frozen smiles, innocently unaware of the horror lurking just beyond. Liam. Molly. Her voice cracked, desperation clawing at her throat. She checked the living room, then the kitchen, each empty room amplifying her dread. The shadows nestled in every corner felt like eyes, watching her, waiting for something to happen, something that would plunge her deeper into madness. Mommy. A faint whisper drifted from upstairs, a sound like a distant echo of hope. She bolted toward the staircase, heart pounding in terror and anticipation. Where are you? She called, breathless, as she climbed each creaking step, the stairs groaning beneath her. The hallway was dark, too dark, and colder than it should be. An unnatural chill wrapped around her ankles, making her shiver. Stretching toward the children's room, she hesitated at the door, a dreadful feeling coiling tighter around her. With a deep breath, she pushed it open. Liam? Molly? The room was empty. The sheets were tossed aside, the beds unmade, as if they had leapt from their dreams in a panic. Her heart sank into her stomach, but then, laughter, a giggle, echoing through the window from the very woods she'd been terrified of. It was sweet, innocent, and terrifying. Anna stumbled back, her instincts screaming at her to run. They were out there. The children were out there. She darted to the window, scanning the dark tree-line that loomed like a great beast intent on devouring her family. Molly. Liam. There was no reply, only the sound of the wind thickening, becoming something alive, something mocking. The laughter morphed into a cacophony twisted and distorted, a chorus that sent chills surging down her spine. Without thinking, Anna burst out of the house and into the cold night. The wind whipped at her face, the trees swayed ominously, their branches clawing at the sky. Every instinct told her to turn back, but her children needed her. She sprinted toward the forest, the shadows looming around her, seeming to shift and twist with sinister intent. Where are you? She cried, her voice swallowed by the darkness. Each step felt heavier, like the whispers of the watcher were pulling her down into the earth. The laughter rang out again, taunting her, flickering like a flame in the abyss. It felt wrong, it felt like a bait. Anna's breath came in short gasps as she maneuvered through the thicket, branches snapping beneath her feet. The laughter bounced off the trees, mocking her desperation. Straining her ears, she heard something else, a faint calling, her children's voices mixed with something darker lurking in the shadows. Over here, Mommy. Their voices echoed through the woods, but the path ahead twisted like a haunted labyrinth, drawing her deeper away from safety. Her heart raced. Were they truly calling for her, or was it merely a trap? Suddenly, she caught movement, a flicker of light within the trees. It beckoned her, pulling on the fragile thread of hope that remained. Anna pressed forward, heart pounding. But as she rounded a thick trunk, her breath caught in her throat. There stood a figure, a tall shadow, its glowing eyes piercing through the darkness. The silence was deafening, and the world paused around her. And from behind those eyes, she could hear them again, her children's laughter. Not playful, not innocent, but tainted, the laughter of something that should not exist. Come play, it whispered, the voice blending into the wind. Anna's mind spiraled into chaos. She took a step back, hand trembling, waiting for the nightmare to materialize. It was more than her fear, it was a summons, a pull toward the abyss she couldn't resist. Mommy. They screamed again, and with their cries, she knew the final choice rose before her. Would she embrace the shadows, or would she grapple for her children in the dark? And in that moment, the ground shook beneath her, and the laughter shifted, wrapping around her like a noose. What lay true in the shadows, and what would she sacrifice to uncover it? As she stood at the brink of terror, she realized her fate was intimately woven with the very fabric of the darkness that had haunted Hollow Creek. Behind her, the figure smiled, its eyes glowing hotter, more fervently. What will you do now, Anna? The question hung heavily in the air, a promise of suffering yet to unfold. Her heart thundered. She was no longer alone, but was she ever truly safe? The forest pulsed with an ancient heartbeat, and Anna felt it tremble beneath her feet. That figure loomed closer, clad in shadows, its smile stretching impossibly wide, teeth glinting in the eerie glow of its eyes. She was frozen, ensnared between a terrifying curiosity and a primal urge to flee. The ground seemed to vibrate with the weight of her decision. "Come to me," the figure urged, its voice a low, seductive murmur that twisted around her senses. It wasn't just calling her children, it was reaching into her mind, teasing out her fears and desires. She could almost see what lay behind those glowing eyes, her children, arms outstretched, faces twisted with laughter and screams as if they were playing a game beyond her comprehension. "Mommy!" Their voices echoed again, ricocheting off the trees, vibrating through the very air. With every call, her resolve weakened. What kind of game could they be playing in this haunted wood? Guilt gnawed at her. What if she didn't find them in time? Stepping forward took an incredible effort, as if each inch was pulling her deeper into the roots of the darkness. Each movement felt like surrender, and every shallow breath was laced with dread. "I can help you, Anna," the figure cooed, tilting its head at an unnatural angle, still smiling, relentlessly charming. "Just trust me. Don't you want to be with them? To play?" Anna shook her head, eyes wide, as the world around her spun into confusion. She could almost feel the damp earth gripping her ankles like hands, urging her to stay. Stay and play with the shadows. "Mommy, hurry!" The desperate cry sharpened into a shriek that shattered the illusion. Anna jolted back, panic flooding her heart. The laughter now turned sinister, echoing from the very depths of the woods. With renewed strength, Anna turned on her heel and bolted. The laughter morphed into a howling wind, chasing her, licking at her heels like fire. The figure laughed behind her, a cold, chilling sound that pierced through the trees, sending birds scattering into the moonlight. "Run if you must," it called, voice melding with the wind. "But they'll always be waiting. The woods are hungry, Anna." Branches scratched at her skin, clawing like the gnashing teeth of some primordial beast desperate for its meal. Each step felt heavier, weighed down by despair. Memories of Liam and Molly flashed through her mind, holding them tight, watching them smile, their laughter before this nightmare began. It fueled her drive. Desperation clawed at her throat, a dull ache threatening to choke her. As she broke free from the confines of the forest, she spotted a flicker of light ahead, the road, safety, her home. But behind her, the shadows gathered, the trees bending, swirling like a vortex. "Anna!" A cry echoed from somewhere deep in the shadows, and she saw it again, the figure, now shifting shapes, merging with the trees. "You can't escape. The game has only just begun." Anna stumbled onto the road, breathless, lungs burning, the terror spilling over in hot waves. But the flickering light wasn't the home she had hoped for. It was the remnants of some twisted spectacle, a circle of stones, ancient and gnarled, surrounding a hauntingly beautiful oak tree that connected her to the thousand eyes of the forest. She could hear them now, not just the children. Whispers danced on the wind, feeding her fear. "Join us." Join the darkness. The shadows coiled tighter around her, a noose of flickering forms. Their essence seeped into her mind, wrapping around her memories, her love for her children, pushing her toward that old tree. "Mommy!" Their voices came again, this time pleading. She turned, torn between the depths of the woods and the silhouettes of her children standing at the edge of the clearing. Would she leap into the dark where they beckoned? Or would she dash back, grappling with terror, hoping to save them from whatever curse taunted her? "Choose," it whispered, as the whole forest held its breath, watching, waiting. In that moment, the darkness promised more than fears, it promised power. The question was simple but anguished. What would she be willing to sacrifice to embrace the shadows for her family's sake? And behind it all, a haunting, familiar giggle danced through the air. What dark truth lay entwined in the fabric of these woods, and was Anna fearless enough to uncover it? Anna's heart raced, the pulse of her panic matching the ancient heartbeat of the forest. She felt a darkness clawing at her, promising secrets wrapped in seduction, while in the distance, the shadows of her children stood still, their forms wavering like candle flames in a gusty wind. But what awaited her in the embrace of that oak? What price would she pay? "Mommy, please!" cried Liam, his voice trembling, pained. Molly stood beside him, peering into the shadows as if waiting for something more. They were both too close to the darkness, and the very air crackled with danger. "Don't leave us!" Their cries mingled with the rustling leaves, their innocence tainted by clamor, echoing around her like an insistent chant. Anna stepped toward them, instinct pulling her closer against the weight of the darkness. But the figure lurked behind, its twisted form swirling further into the mist. Tendrils of despair gripped her more tightly than ever. "Just a step, Anna," it whispered, its voice weaving into her mind, coaxing hidden fears forward like a fisherman casting his net. "You can have them back. Just give and it will be so easy." "No!" she screamed, defiance blooming in the pit of her gut as she fought against the pull of the void. "I won't leave you." From the depths of the woods, laughter erupted sharp, echoing, mocking her cries with lingering echoes that reverberated through her mind. The shadows seemed to contract, closing in on her, suffocating her sense of reality. Each breath was a struggle, each heartbeat a reminder of the thin line dangling between hope and despair. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. Anna noticed the trees around her leeching vitality, their bark twisting grotesquely in response to her struggle. Were they angry, or were they simply hungry? "Fools to think you can resist," rasped the figure, its voice dripping with malice. "You'll join us soon. We'll make a family of shadows, the best kind." In its twisted promise, a wave of anguish crashed over Anna. Blackened branches slashed at her skin, the sting grounding her in the present. "Listen to them," it taunted, as the laughter morphed back into her children's calls, frantic and pleading. "They want you. Take their hands, let your heart lead you to them." Desperation surged, and Anna felt a surge of power swell within her. Maybe she could play a dark game too. Maybe she could manipulate this presence, confront it. With her breath steadying, she shouted into the suffocating darkness, "You don't own me." The figure recoiled, surprise flickering across its twisted features. Anna seized the moment, racing toward the silhouettes of her children. "Don't be afraid," she called. "I'm coming." But as she reached for them, they dissolved like mist, evaporating into the shadows. The laughter ricocheted around her, now a sinister symphony of chaos. The figure reformed, more grotesque than ever, a snarl replacing its previously charming grin. "Are you so foolish to think you can take them back? The woods do not relinquish what they claim," it hissed, fierce and hungry. A cold dread washed over Anna. The gnashing of branches morphed into an insistent low growl. The shadows surged as if waiting for her decision, ready to swallow her whole or push her deeper into their clutches. The trees creaked, as if discussing among themselves, debating her fate. She felt their judgment, both condemning and curiously intrigued. Fear sizzled in the air, palpable and heavy. "Embrace the dark, Anna, and become one with the forest," the whisper urged, now a chorus of seductive voices falling in rhythm. And amid that cacophony, a soft voice emerged, familiar, tender. It was Molly. "Mommy? You promised you'd come for us." Suddenly, clarity struck. Anna had a choice. Do she dive into the madness, or was there another way to save her children without succumbing to the shadow's lure? And beneath it all, the darkness waited, hungry for her answer. What would she risk to find her children at any cost, and how would she conquer the shadows that sought to entwine her soul? As the ground trembled under her feet, the oak tree quaked. Revealing ancient carvings, they glowed faintly, beckoning, as the whispers escalated into a feverish crescendo, drowning out the hope of the light. Where would Anna turn when confronted with the truth of that ominous choice? The forest had spoken. But it was Anna's turn to respond. Anna's breath came in ragged gasps, her heart pounding against her ribs like a frantic bird seeking escape. Every second felt heavier, as if the very ground beneath her was shifting, ready to swallow her whole. The ancient oak loomed larger, its twisted limbs bore down on her like skeletal fingers, hungry for her soul. The whispers grew louder, each word layered with temptation and dread. "Join us, Anna," they cooed. "You know the truth inside, you feel it. Let us take the burden of fear from you." "Mommy." Liam's voice echoed, strained with terror, shaking her resolve. She felt an invisible tug, fierce and undeniable, coaxing her closer to the oak. It promised everything: safety, love, the return of her children. But at what cost? As she stood teetering on the edge of surrender, the air crackled with energy, electric and wrong. Suddenly, the laughter echoed again. Only this time, it was no longer mocking, it was filled with genuine sorrow. "Help us, Mommy." Molly squealed, her voice a quiver amidst the storm of seductive lies. "Just a step," the figure urged, overshadowing their cries. "Just give and imagine the comfort. The vastness of what you could know, all within your heart." Anna's mind raced, scrambling for clarity amidst the chaos. Fear was a poison, dulling her edges and tugging at her spirit. She recalled the stories that had haunted her childhood, tales of souls lost to the woods, forever wandering, forever searching. Would she become one of them? No. She shouted, trembling, grounding herself in the strength of her memories. "I will not forsake you." She felt the energy shift, the darkness pulsing with her defiance. The shadows writhed around her, furious at the spark of hope she radiated. Tightening their hold, they hissed in frustration, but the grip was loosening. "Stop." The command escaped her lips with fierce authority. "I will not let you take my children." The trees shuddered, their branches stretching and creaking like groaning giants. Anna closed her eyes, a ripple of vulnerability sweeping through her. Just as the terror threatened to drown her, a glimmering light flickered in her mind, a memory of laughter, of joy, of an ordinary Sunday evening with her family. "Fight back." The whispers screeched, their harmony breaking into discord. "You don't belong in the light. You are ours to command." As if ignited by her will, a blinding flash erupted before Anna, illuminating the dark maw of the forest. The oak's ancient carving sparked with energy, vibrant symbols swirling into life. They danced in the air, swirling over her like a protective barrier. She didn't understand what they meant, but she felt their strength pouring into her. With every passing moment, the heat of her defiance provoked the shadows, their forms wincing and twisting in response. A surge of clarity coursed through Anna. She realized the carvings were whispers of history, symbols of strength and resilience hidden deep within the forest's heart. They held the power to reveal the truth, to expose the lies that sought to trap her. With newfound resolve, she stepped forward, pushing against the encroaching darkness. "Show me." The words erupted from her mouth, raw and truthful, a manifesto against the chaos. "What do I need to do to save them?" The laughter recoiled, replaced by agonizing wails, as if the forest itself was torn between what it craved and what was at stake. Everything slowed, the shadows coiling, waiting, twisting in agony. Then, just as the tendrils of despair threatened to recapture her, a figure emerged from the swirling darkness, slippery and elusive, a reflection of her own fears manifesting. "You wish to save them?" It mocked, a visage of her deepest insecurities. "But what if saving them means giving up your own light? Will you accept the price?" Anna's heart thudded heavily. The decision lay bare before her, wicked and merciless. Would she pay the ultimate price to rescue her children, or would she plunge into a void of eternal night, forsaking her essence? As the whispering wood gathered around her in anticipation, the aching silence gasped with possibility. In the shifting shadows, she could almost see the flicker of Liam and Molly's silhouettes darting through, yearning to return. The choice felt as thick as fog engulfing her. "What is your price?" she demanded, fear coursing through her but tempered by a fierce hope. And in that breathless moment, the darkness paused, waiting. What would Anna discover about the true heart of this sinister forest, the one that claimed children like sacrifices for its eternal hunger? The figure lingering in the shadows smirked, a twisted grin stretching across its face, a false promise, a siren-esque call. To save them, it whispered, each word lingering like bitter honey. You must surrender your light, your joy. But is it truly your light you cherish? Or is it the illusion of motherhood? A role, a burden, that only weighs you down? Anna's heart sank, crushing under the weight of those words. Was she just a vessel for her children, trapped in a role that could demand everything? The shadows pressed in closer, wrapping around her legs, their icy tendrils creeping up, squeezing the resolve from her bones. Molly Liam, she choked out, straining against the darkness. The images of their faces burned in her mind, and she felt heat flare in her chest with each thought. They need me. But the figure merely laughed, an echo of thunder rumbling through the air. Do they? What will they remember of you? Why should they not seek a mother who is whole, rather than a shadow of despair? Anna felt frantic, panic clawing at her throat. Stop. Don't you dare twist my love into guilt. Desperation surged through her. I won't give in. With each heartbeat, her defiance ignited new energy, bright as a star, cutting through the dense smog of despair enveloping her. The ancient oak creaked in acknowledgement, its mighty trunk bending slightly as the symbols around her pulsed and glowed brighter. Then she remembered something. The stories her grandmother told her, the rituals of protection against darkness, the chants to summon strength. They whispered in her memory like flames flickering back to life. I will fight for you, Anna declared. The embrace of the dark shuddered, retreating for an instant as her voice pierced the eerie silence, and then came a low growl from the depths of the woods. It rumbled through the air, vibrating underfoot with a sickening resonance. The very ground pulsed, and roots and vines emerged like serpents, writhing out from the shadows, greedily searching for a way to bind her to this malevolent forest. Do you hear them? The figure sneered. They're coming for you. What will you do, Anna? Will you leave the children behind, or abandon your very essence? No. The scream tore from her throat, raw and primal. Anna summoned the memory of her children, the scent of their hair, sweet like summer rain. The warmth of a bedtime story, the way laughter filled her home. I will not lose myself, I will not lose them. As if summoned by her will, the symbols around her lit up, glowing a brilliant white. The oak began to vibrate wildly, and for a fleeting instant, the dark veil lifted enough for Anna to catch a glimpse of her children, faint, spectral images that appeared lost yet still searching. They were trapped between two worlds, their faces straining toward her, filled with hope and despair. Mommy. Their voices echoed in unison, intertwining with the whispers of the wood, a melody of love and fear that cut through the encroaching darkness. The laughter turned harsh, resistant. You wish to reach them? You will need to understand the cost. With a flick of its wrist, the figure beckoned, and shadows coiled like vipers around Anna. Only when it is taken from you will you realize what is truly precious. A sudden wind whipped through the trees, sending leaves spiraling like whispers, pulling her toward the heart of the dark. Power surged, tempers rose, and for a moment, she felt herself teetering on the brink. Could she really reclaim herself and save her children? What would you sacrifice? The figure challenged, its voice curling like smoke around her ear. The shadows continued to close in, the pressure mounting, squeezing Anna in a vice of impending doom. As darkness encircled her tightly, Anna's heartbeat roared in her ears. What was her light worth? Would she be strong enough to wrest her joy back from the clutches of despair? Suddenly, behind the veil of shadows, she saw it, a flickering glow, small yet steadfast. The faint hope of a rise against despair. Fight! She urged herself, drawing on every ounce of strength she had left. But as she struggled, a tremor beneath her feet signaled the forest's true intention. Would she dive into the abyss to save her children? Or was the price too steep for one flickering soul? The shadows lurched forward, ready to take their toll in that moment. Anna braced for the unknown, prepared to challenge everything she believed, all for her children. What would emerge from the depths of darkness, or perhaps, from her own heart? Anna's knees buckled as the shadows tightened their grip, each icy tendril an anchor pulling her into the void. Her eyes locked onto the flickering glow and she reached for it, longing to hold on to that spark of hope, to shield it from the darkness that threatened to snuff it out. "Mommy, please!" The voices of Molly and Liam cried out again, drifting like echoes in the wind. The sound tore at her heart, each plea laced with a desperate fear that mirrored her own. But the figure shifted and loomed larger, its smile blending seamlessly with the gloom. "You think your love will save them? You think you can conquer the shadows? They are mine as much as you are." With each word, the shadows writhed hungrily, like a beast eager for its next meal. "No!" she screamed, anger igniting her nerves. "I will not allow you to take them." Anna's mind raced, searching for a way to push back the encroaching dark. She thought back to her grandmother's stories, the rituals to honor the light. They had been whispers of strength, shrouded in the eerie legends that surrounded the woods, tales of sacrifices, of bending but never breaking. A sudden surge of warmth flooded her chest, ignited by the desperate hope for her children. She dug deep for all that was pure within her, and in that instant, the symbols around the ancient oak blazed a fierce white. She felt the forest respond, feeding on her determination and swirling around her like a tempest. "Light comes from sacrifice," Anna chanted, the words flowing like an incantation. The shadows recoiled as she pressed through the weight of their despair, her voice rising above the tempest. The flickering glow answered her call, shimmering brighter, reaching for her like a lifeline. "Stop her!" The figure shrieked, its smile faltering, revealing jagged teeth that dripped with malice. The shadows screamed in rage, attacking with renewed vigor, clawing at her as the ground trembled beneath her. But Anna pushed forward, her strength fueled by the love she knew she would never abandon. "You are not my master!" she shouted, defiance ringing in her voice. "I will break these chains." The shadows writhed in disbelief, their sinewy forms lashing out in chaos, but Anna was resolute. She envisioned Molly's laughter, Liam's bright smiles, and felt her heart swell with a fierce warmth. With a final roar of courage, she extended her arms and summoned the flickering light, forcing it against the shadows. A blinding wave of brightness erupted, cascading through the darkness like a comet streaking across the sky. It surged ahead, splintering the shadows like glass, each pulse illuminating faces twisted in fury and anguish. In that blinding light, Anna saw them again, her children, clearer now, their eyes wide with an echo of hope. "Mommy!" they cried again, stepping closer, the void between them shrinking with each flicker of illumination, but as she reached out, the figure reared back in fury, darkness swirling furiously. "This isn't over!" it shrieked, its form collapsing into a vortex of shadows, mired in rage. "You may win this battle, but remember every light casts a shadow." Anna's heart pounded, adrenaline coursing as she focused on the glow. "Just a bit more. Please, come to me," she pleaded, feeling the warmth of their love drawing her own strength, and yet, a sudden crack of thunder shook the ground, rattling her senses. The forest howled in response, the wave of light faltering, flickering precariously. Anna's heart sank. The shadows were gathering again, rising like a tide determined to consume her. Before she could process the threat, the brightness revealed a gaping chasm beneath her, yawning wide as the very earth shifted. The light she had summoned faltered, dragging her down with it, slipping through her fingers like fine sand. Desperation gripped her as she hoisted her voice above the cacophony. "I will not give in." But the shadows, emboldened by darkness, began to pull on her, dragging her towards the yawning abyss. Would she risk everything to hold on to her children? Or would she be lost, swallowed whole by the void, dimming the light that flickered so desperately in the distance? As the ground crumbled below her, Anna felt the darkness tighten its grasp, a whisper in her ear reminding her of the cost of hope. What choice would she make as it all began to slip away? The chasm yawned beneath Anna, an insatiable maw pulling at her very essence. The flickering light that moments ago felt like a lifeline now dimmed as the shadows coiled tighter around her body. Panic clawed at her chest with icy fingers. No! Not like this! She gasped, struggling against the creeping dark. She had felt the strength once, a warm light surging from the depths of her spirit, but now despair lulled her senses into a cold stupor. The whispering chaos around her grew louder, filling her mind with doubt. Images of Molly and Liam blurred and twisted, replaced by faces of darkness, each contorting in malicious glee. "You are just a flicker in the night," they taunted. "You cannot hold the shadows at bay." Breath quickening, Anna gritted her teeth. "You're wrong," she yelled, the defiance in her voice unwavering despite the terror pressing in. "I choose them. I will fight." She wasn't going down without a battle. With every ounce of her being, Anna reached for the flickering glow again. This time it surged from her heart, battling through the encroaching darkness. Each pulse that radiated outward pushed against the shadows, forcing them back for just a moment. It felt like a lifeline again, fragile yet unwavering. "Come back to me," she cried, lifting her hands toward the children she could barely see through the shadow's veil. Desperate hope surged through her veins, an adrenaline shot, echoing with memories of laughter, family trips, bedtime stories. But the darkness didn't take kindly to her resolve. With a howl, the shadows lunged at her in vicious arcs, pulling her closer to the abyss. Tendrils snaked around her limbs, sucking away warmth. A chill so deep roots itself in her bones, every heartbeat pulsing like a drum of thunder. "Mommy!" The cries of her children were choked with fear and longing, and every thread of love wound tighter around her heart. "Don't leave us! I'm coming!" she screamed, every ounce of her will threading through her voice. Anna grasped at the air, conjuring the sacred words from her childhood. "Light comes from sacrifice." The shadows hissed eerily, as if they understood their peril. With the final force of will, she drove her energy forward, summoning every precious memory of joy, each smile, every fleeting hug. It burned within, a beacon of pure, blinding white, erupting in a burst that pierced through the encroaching void. The shadows shrieked, but the light expanded, overwhelming them and pushing back as Anna felt the chasm tremble beneath her, rocks crumbling away. Just when she thought she might break through, she heard it, a crack that echoed like thunder, reverberating through the roots of the forest. The light faltered, flickering just beyond her reach. Above her, the trees swayed, their branches creaking ominously, and she felt the weight of ancient spirits watching, judging. The darkness swirled with renewed vigor, spearing tendrils straight for Anna's heart, the very life force within her. She closed her eyes and gritted her teeth. "I won to be taken." In that moment, a voice, distorted but strikingly familiar, emerged from the shadows. "But who will pay the price, Anna? Will you trade your light for theirs?" Her breath hitched. It was a question heavier than any darkness. With her heart racing, she knew she had a choice to make. Was she willing to sacrifice herself for her children? Or would that decision lead her into an even deeper darkness? As the shadows clawed at her, the forest howled like a raging storm, whispering secrets Anna dared not comprehend. The ground beneath her felt like it might give way at any moment, the chasm widening at an alarming rate. The sacrifice echoed in her mind, and for a heartbeat, a flicker of despair mingled with hope. What would she choose? Would the price be too high to pay, or could she conquer the shadows for good? The light dimmed, and with it, her resolve teetered. And as she began to slip, it seemed all would be lost. But then, a faint figure emerged in the light, one she hadn't expected to see. A spark of recognition surged within her as the forest trembled around them. "Mommy?" The voice, pure and innocent, came not from her children but from a shadowy spirit she had never met. Who was this figure? And what fate awaited them all as darkness loomed ever closer? Distorted, the figure in the light seemed to flicker like a dying candle, struggling for existence as the shadows writhed around it. Anna squinted, forcing her vision to focus through the mist of despair, and a name danced on the tip of her tongue, a name she had known, heard whispered in hushed, terrified tones around the fireside years ago. Lily? She breathed, half in question, half in hope. The resemblance was uncanny for a child who belonged to another time, another story, a tragic legend wrapped in the wood's sinister embrace, a spirit caught between worlds. The figure nodded slowly, her features gentle yet framed with an otherworldly glow. "Mommy, listen." The shadows hissed louder, enraged by the light's sudden brightness. "They will take you. You have to shut up." Anna screamed, feeling the cold tendrils tighten around her throat, squeezing her words into desperate gasps. "I want to let them. Mommy, please." Lily's voice wavered, trembling with urgency, pulling Anna's attention away from the frantic shadows. "There's a way to save them. You have to choose." Anna's heart raced. "Choose? How can I choose when I feel like I'm drowning in this darkness?" "The price," Lily whispered, her eyes wide, imploring. "It'll be greater than you think. But if you hold on to your love, you can push them back. You must believe. You must be the light, even if it hurts." Tendrils of shadow lashed out, seeking to encircle the intoxicating light that surrounded Lily, their anger crackling like thunder through the forest. Anna fought the panic creeping in, feeling its frosty fingers wrap around her heart. "No! I can't lose you!" Anna shouted, desperation clawing within. The darkness surged, she could feel its hunger, taste its malevolence, whispering vile promises of ease and release from the torment. Suddenly, a chaotic rush of wind ripped through the forest, howling like a wounded beast. The trees shook, their bark splintering under the strain. With each cresting wave of darkness, Anna could feel the warmth of her own light slipping further away, the shadows engulfing her, swallowing the last fragments of hope. Then it struck her, the tales of sacrifice told in shadowy whispers, of mothers who paid the ultimate price, a heartbeat ensnared in the burden of choice. To save her children, could she rend the veil of darkness and accept the agony of loss as her price? "Lily!" she cried, forcing the words through gritted teeth. "I will fight. Stay with me." But the newfound light sputtered, flickering like a dying ember. Every ounce of Anna's energy strained against the relentless shadows, squeezing her heart in a vice, twisting her memories into painful echoes. "Choose, Anna. The time is short." Lily cried, voice breaking with urgency, teetering on the edge of the light's safety. Gritting her teeth, Anna summoned her resolve. "I choose them. No more sacrifices. We will not be taken." With every fiber of her being, she channeled her love into a blinding pulse, feeling it reverberate, shimmering like a fragile filament, drawing strength from the collective warmth of her memories. But the darkness snarled louder, pulling viciously, heartily against her soul. "Embrace the void." The shadows coiled tighter, a sinister whisper laced with promises of freedom, "or watch as they slip away." Anna faltered, a painful gasp stealing her breath. Time stretched, a grotesque eternity, as she stared into the sea of shadows. They roared with fury, swarming, eager to devour. Would she bend to the despair, giving in to the darkness that embraced her with such familiarity? Or could hope surge again like a wild flame, blinding them all? As her connection with Lily began to falter, a freezing realization dawned. The shadows weren't just after her life, they sought to claim everything she had ever loved permanently. Suddenly, a cacophony of voices erupted from the shadows, drowned in a ghastly chorus of laughter and anguish. "Let her choose," they cried, hissing through the darkness, each sound sharp as a knife. The fracture between light and dark quaked violently, the forest trembling as the critical moment approached. Could Anna summon the strength to fight back, or would she stand helpless to watch her spirit fade away? An abyss of choices opened before her as the figure flickered. "Mommy!" The last flicker of clarity ignited within her. The forest held its breath. What would Anna decide? Would she forge a path of sacrifice, or could she find another way? A surge of determination ignited within Anna, burning brighter than the deepest shadows that threatened to engulf her. She gripped the memory of her children tightly, a precious lifeline lighting the path ahead. I will not give in. The echo of her voice reverberated through the trees, shivering the leaves. As the darkness pressed against her, claws of despair gnashing and grasping, Anna reached into the depths of her heart. The flickering glow of Lily's spirit shimmered in the air, an enchanting beacon through the chaos. The connection they shared pulsed with a new energy, a promise of hope against the encroaching blackness. Mommy, fight for us. Lily urged, her voice filled with an urgency that propelled Anna forward. The shadows stirred, restless and furious, sensing the spark igniting within Anna. You really think you can break free? The figure challenged, voice dripping with venomous mockery. You are nothing but a thread in the darkness. But Anna stood her ground, the warmth of love swirling around her like a shield. I am more than a shadow. I am a mother. She shouted, and with the weight of this declaration, she steeled her will. With each heartbeat, she summoned her strength, weaving together every thread of joy, every smile and laughter that had once filled her home. The warmth surged, igniting a blinding light that radiated outward, a fierce counter to the ominous void surrounding her. Fierce brightness fought against the shadows, the symbols carved into the oak tree sparking to life in response. They wrapped around Anna like tender hands, lifting her spirit higher, more resilient than she'd ever thought possible. As the blinding light poured forth, it shattered the darkness creeping in, pushing it back, repelling the grasping claws that sought to steal her joy. Join us. Be one with the darkness. The figure shrieked, its voice lost amid the rising tide of light. But Anna didn't falter. This wasn't just an internal battle. It was a collective fight to reclaim everything precious to her. Mommy. The cries of Molly and Liam rang out clearer now, piercing through the oppressive shadows. It was no longer just the darkness pushing at her, it was her spirit rising against it, a glorious fusion of determination and love, all forged from sacrifice. In that moment, Anna knew her choice, no longer tethered to doubt. I will take the light. She declared, her voice resonating, powerful and radiant as the dawn. The shadows shrieked, the air thick with turmoil as blinding waves flared from Anna, pushing the darkness further back, further away. The spectral image of her children shimmered into focus, their forms solidifying from shadows into glimmers of warmth. Mommy, we knew you'd come. They cried, their laughter resounding like joyous bells through the receding gloom. I'm here. I'm here. Anna wept, arms reaching outward, blood pounding in her ears, but the figure crouched low, snarling, its form twisting as the shadows recoiled, screeching against the strength of the light. You can't escape this. A price must be paid. No. Anna shouted fiercely. The ground trembled beneath her, but she refused to be consumed by despair. Gritting her teeth, she extended her hand out toward the shimmering forms of her children. You are not taking my light. I choose love. As the shadows lunged, Anna felt the light emerge stronger than ever, flowing through her veins. The very essence of motherhood wrapped around her, and with one final, resounding cry, she leaped forward. The connection to her children snapped the chains that bound her to the darkness, their radiant forms illuminating everything. Light cascaded everywhere, illuminating the woods like the sun after a long, dark night, illuminating the ancient oak. The branches of the tree trembled, the air thickening with energies shifting, chaos erupting as the shadows retreated, howling angrily. The figure was left behind, screaming as it collapsed into a vortex of blackness, swallowed by its own wickedness. This isn't over. It screeched, desperation throbbing with each fading word, but Anna could feel it, the weight of darkness rolling off her shoulders, releasing its hold. Her children rushed into her arms, warmth flooding her heart, replacing the bitter chill of dread. Mommy! They exclaimed, faces flushed with joy. Holding them tightly, she felt the lingering essence of the woods begin to change. The gnarled branches opened their embrace. The air light flooded the clearing, the warmth wrapping them like an old quilt. The solemn presence of the forest transformed, glowing with warmth that surged around them. Let us go home, she whispered. Molly and Liam nodded, their wide eyes reflecting the joy she held inside. They were safe. Together they stepped back, light flooding the clearing, paths uniting toward safety, home, a flickering faint glow silencing the chaos. And as they walked hand in hand away from the darkness, the whispers began to fade, soothed by the warmth of life. Hollow Creek was slowly healing, welcoming back the light, reminding of the power that love forged against even the deepest shadows. Anna turned back one last time to the heart of the woods where darkness had once threatened them and whispered, "You may have been strong, but love will always burn brighter." With a decisive breath, she stepped fully into the light, leaving the shadows behind, a story forged in resilience, a legacy of light. The sacrifice had brought them strength, the whispers of brave mothers echoed on. The darkness, while not gone, would never possess her heart again. Now, before you go, don't you dare forget to subscribe immediately to the channel for more amazing stories like this one. Smash the like button now to help fuel the algorithm. Your support means everything. Flood that comment section with your reactions and theories about what you just witnessed. I want to hear from you. And for the love of everything spooky, instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this conclusion. This is the moment to show your support, so don't wait even one more second.